In recent years, the Star Fox series has been in a pretty tough position. Sales numbers haven't been the greatest, and a good portion of the fanbase feel as if we haven't had a truly great game in a long time, fearing the death of one of the Nintendo legends. While this doesn't reflect what everybody thinks, I think it's safe to say that Fox McCloud and the gang are in desperate need of reinvention if they want to be respected as titans in the world of Nintendo once again. And that's why I'm here. How's it going, everybody? I hope you're all good. This is Peter Gargan speaking, and for this video, I will be pitching a few ideas of my own on how the Star Fox series of games could reach new heights in the modern era of gaming. Be sure to stick around until the end, as I've saved what I think is the best idea for last. I figured it made sense to make it more suspenseful that way. So, without further ado, let's not waste any more time and get into my ideas. The first idea I had is the one that I'm probably the least enthusiastic about, but thought it was worth mentioning, due to certain events that have unfolded over these past few years, and that is for Nintendo to collaborate with Ubisoft on a new game. The obvious reason why I brought this up to begin with was because of how the Switch version of Ubisoft's Starlink Battle for Atlas features exclusive Star Fox content. So I suppose it would be logical for Nintendo to work with the same team to make a game that's entirely focused on the Star Fox world this time round, perhaps with a more open world RPG approach like what Starlink went for. Furthermore, this idea may make sense due to Nintendo also teaming up with Ubisoft on Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, as well as its upcoming sequel Sparks of Hope. So clearly the two have a promising partnership if Nintendo are willing to allow Ubisoft to use their IP in this manner. With that being said, there are other ideas I had in terms of who should handle the new hypothetical Star Fox game that I'd rather see instead. Nothing against Ubisoft or anything, but I thought I'd get what I think is my weakest idea out of the way first, so that we can pave the way for the more interesting ones. Texas-based Retro Studios is arguably one of Nintendo's most well-respected first-party developers they have under their wing, and with a track record of the Metroid Prime trilogy and the modern Donkey Kong Country titles, it's not hard to see why. Everything they touch seemingly turns to gold, so much so that when development of Metroid Prime 4 had to be restarted, it was handed back to them. Having said that, there were rumours a few years back circulating that they were working on a Star Fox racing game spin-off that combined elements of F-Zero and Diddy Kong Racing. While I always take rumours and supposed leaks with a grain of salt, I have to admit, I wouldn't be opposed to this idea becoming a reality, as I think it sounds pretty cool on paper. Part of this is because I feel like it could make a more appealing single-player experience under the racing genre, as Mario Kart for example is more enjoyable with multiplayer in mind. And I can't help but feel like the series in recent years has neglected some of its single-player aspects, such as the absence of the mission mode from Mario Kart DS in modern titles for example, something which really came in handy for when your friends or family weren't available to play at the time. Even if it's not specifically a racing spin-off, I still think Retro would have the potential to bring justice to our anthropomorphic space squad, seeing as their purpose seems to revolve around breathing new life into Nintendo classics for the modern generation. With that being said, I don't think the whole Star Fox Grand Prix idea was ever real to begin with, and Retro are currently busy with making Metroid Prime 4 the best experience it can possibly be, so we might have to count them out as potential Star Fox saviors anytime soon. Next up, I wanted to talk a little bit about Platinum Games. This studio has developed a pretty healthy relationship with Nintendo this past decade, working on the likes of the wonderful 101, Bayonetta 2, Astral Chain, and the upcoming Bayonetta 3. On top of these fantastic titles, Nintendo even allowed them to co-develop Star Fox Zero for the Wii U alongside them. Hideki Kamiya himself had previously expressed his desire to work on an entry in the series, so it was nice to see him finally get the chance to do so. However, I can't help but feel like Platinum have been held back from unleashing their true potential on what they could have added to the world of Star Fox, and that is due to Zero being co-developed between Platinum and Nintendo, the latter of which wanted to push forward the gamepad controls as a selling point, as well as make the story a reimagining of what had already happened in Star Fox 64, two decisions which ultimately received mixed responses from fans and critics alike, sparking uncertainty over what direction the series would take in the future if they insisted on continuing to tread familiar ground, while also implementing divisive innovations at the same time. It is for this reason why I think it would be a cool idea to see Nintendo take a backseat approach this time round, and give Platinum Games more creative control, playing a more supervisory role and pushing them in the right direction rather than getting directly involved. Due to Platinum's reputation for wanting to be a beacon of originality, I think they have the potential to inject new life into Star Fox with their emphasis on fast-paced action and epic set pieces that encourage the player to keep on coming back to the game to improve. Maybe it could go down the route of having a ranking system that grades players on their skills and efficiency like their games are typically known for. Seeing as the appeal in replay value of the Star Fox series revolves around playing the game repeatedly to see the alternate paths, a grading system that encourages the players to master the mechanics in the same way that Bayonetta does wouldn't exactly be too far of a departure if you ask me. And now, it's time for my final idea, and the one that I want to see happen the most, despite how unlikely it may be. I want to see Masahiro Sakurai of Kirby and Super Smash Bros. Fame direct a new entry. Obviously, Sakurai deserves a long break when he has finished with Smash Ultimate's DLC, due to the insanely hard work he's put into it. But, if by any chance he chooses not to retire after this, I think it would make sense that he offers his own take on the Star Fox universe for a multitude of reasons. The main reason why I think Sakurai is the ideal candidate for this is because he directed Kid Icarus Uprising for the 3DS, a game which is by far one of my all-time favourites, as it literally gave the Kid Icarus universe a brand new identity and was arguably one of the most refreshing Nintendo experiences we've seen this past decade. The thing is, early on in development, it was actually originally intended to be a new Star Fox game, but the idea was scrapped in favour of giving Pit a chance in the limelight. The Star Fox influences do become very clear when playing Uprising, however, with the on-rails flying segments and the exchange of banter between characters during gameplay without the need of interrupting it in favour of cutscenes. The connections do start to add up when you think about it. With all of this in mind, how about we revisit the original concept, not only to inject Star Fox with Sakurai's charm, but also with the intention of making it a spiritual successor to Uprising, seeing as he has no intention of doing a full-on sequel to that game anytime soon. I feel like this way we can get the best of both worlds, as it would play similarly to Uprising, and contain all of the heart and soul that Sakurai is notorious for, as well as reinvent Star Fox in a way that makes sense going forward. As for the segments where you're traversing land on foot, it's already been done in Star Fox Adventures, so it wouldn't exactly be alien territory for Fox. And seeing as Sakurai always makes sure to put plenty of content in his games in the form of additional side modes, we could see a competitive multiplayer mode that combines Assault's multiplayer with Uprising's Together mode, and maybe even a minigame that is similar to the Star Fox Guard side game that came with Zero. Coming up with ideas like this really makes me wish that Sakurai would get the opportunity to work on other projects that aren't Smash Bros related, as Uprising has demonstrated that he has so much more to offer to the world of gaming, and I would actually really like to see how he would handle the Star Fox universe if given the chance, as I think the ideas I've listed have a lot of potential to give the series a whole new identity like what Uprising achieved for Kid Icarus. Overall, I feel like there are many directions the Star Fox series could go if Nintendo ever wanted to make it reach newfound success. As long as they're willing to take risks that not only satisfies the pre-existing fanbase, but also makes it fresh and exciting to attract new players on top of that, then I think one of their legacy IPs could potentially return to being just as respected as the likes of Mario, Zelda, and Kirby. Feel free to let me know if you have any ideas of how you think a potential future Star Fox game should be handled. Who would you like to work on it? What exciting new direction would it take? I'm curious to hear your thoughts, so get commenting away. Hey there! Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed watching it just as much as I have enjoyed putting it together. If you're new around here, why not subscribe to the Peter Gargan channel for more of the best content you can find on the world of Nintendo. Until next time, see you later.